Bring it on. Good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome to Music Lovers LTD, our regular Friday night, our weekly, Friday night show. Good evening to you, and welcome. We're so glad to have you. Welcome on this. Well, here we are in the Philadelphia area. It's wet, it's dreary, and it is a little cold. So, but here inside, musically and on this show, it's nice and warm, and we're going to heat things up because we got a heater with us today. We're talking about Mr. Tony Wilson. Everybody give Tony a nice round of applause. Welcome to you, my brother. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tony is called he's been dubbed as the young James Brown. And we're going to get into that and tell you how that happened, why it's happening, and what he's doing to keep that alive. I will say to you, being a disc jockey for as long as I have and being around in this musical industry, I have seen quite a few people attempt to be James Brown or be like James Brown or try to carry on his legacy. But I will tell you now, for the as best that I have seen, this gentleman here will put most of these other folks to shame. And I'm not only talking about the moves, I'm talking about he actually lives it, and breathes the James Brown tradition. So, Tony, it's great to have you here. My brother, we've been talking for back and forth. I'm glad to have you here, and you're in the area. First of all, before I bring in the rest of the group, you got a show here that I'm coming to see tomorrow at 8 o'clock at the Landis Theater in Vineland, New Jersey. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would, please.
Yes, that's going to be a great show. We put it together with the owner, Ray. It's a new owner for people in Vineland that know that it changed over management and ownership. And it's a 750 theater seater, and it's just really marvelous. And when they found out that I was in town, they said, well, we got to have a James Brown tribute because we never had one. And I said, okay, well, I'd never been to Vineland. So, I came there one time to see it. It's a nice venue. And I told them, look, it doesn't, if it's 10 people or 10,000 people, they're going to get the same show, the same energy. You know what I'm saying? We're not worried about the sales, already paid the band. So, it's like we're ready to go out there and have fun and do what we do.
I hear you. Well, I'm glad to have you in the area. I mean, like I said, we talk back and forth, and what have you. I'm going to back out and we got two members here. Some of the folks are away and celebrating the Memorial Day weekend. And all you folks out there that are listening and watching, happy Memorial Day weekend. Be safe. And I'll say that again before we leave. But Lamar, you come on in and introduce yourself, and let's start the conversation with Tony.
All right. Good evening. I am Lamar, and I'm out in Detroit, Michigan. My first question to you is, how long have you been in the music business?
I would say ever since I was 10 years old, because that's the year I jumped on the stage with James Brown at the Regal Theater in Chicago.
Okay. And how much enjoyment do you get out of this?
Oh my God, I get so much enjoyment because I see the faces of the people and expressions, and they want to get up and dance and move, and it just locks them in. Even the young, they're not familiar with it. They take something from it because I end up doing a spin or a flip or who knows, it's just something that attracts them. But it's just that James Brown groove that just does something to somebody. It's really different. It's not electronic, it's not digital, it's not beats. It's real musicians playing real instruments.
Okay, and you said that you danced with James Brown. Did he pull you up there, or did you just get up there?
No, I just got up there, sort of like they did at James Brown St. Boston when the kids came up there and then the police started pushing them off. But they didn't push us off because we were during the Chitlin circuit.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a big James Brown, say Boston at that arena. It was Chitlin circuit places like High Chaparral, East of the Rhine, those little small places. Even like in Detroit, Baker's Keyboard and Floods, places like that. Yeah. So yeah, it was so easy to get up there, and you just dance with them, and it was not a big deal.
Okay.
Cool. Good questions, Lamar. Hey, DD, come on in.
Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Now, I read that you were a decoy for Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Okay.
In the 80s, I started. Well, I used to be around the Jackson Five a long time because I was in Chicago. They're from Gary, Indiana. So we were very close together. So Joseph, their father, used to bring them to the Guys and Gals and other places. There was a all black TV station in Chicago called Red Hot and Blues, the Big Bill Hill show. And so it didn't come on till midnight. So that's when that hit song was out. They banded that song called Do Your Thing. Remember, Do Your Thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they used to get on their four knees and do their head the dog, and they
Right.
banded that, right? So Jackson Five used to always be. This is before they got signed. They was in contests, and Gary, Indiana, in that area, it wasn't really much to do. You had to come to Chicago if you was in Gary. So they actually came to Chicago and did lots of little clubs. By that time, your mother and father could take you to taverns and places, and you just couldn't sit on the bar, but you definitely could be in there, right? Back in the day, right? So those are the kind of places I knew the Jacksons, and so from that point, once I got older, and then Michael started, I guess, parting himself from the Jacksons. That's when Joseph had Don King contacted me and said, we want you to be a decoy for Michael, because it was hard for them to get into venues and theaters. So they had me pop my head out of a limousine with the glove on or whatever, the sequel. And everybody to go this way, and they was able to go that way. And so I know. And then, but they've been doing that for a while. Then they catapulted it to Michael was speaking with Diana Ross, and she got him to be the Scarecrow in The Wiz. So I was an understudy for that Wiz. And, we did it in New York and in the subways and all that. And then Michael's lungs for the second time collapsed. So we got in touch with Dick Gregory, and Dick Gregory came and took care of Michael.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the other time his lungs collapsed when he did the Show You the Way to Go concert. But that's what I did for him. And then we just always kept a relationship, going on, because I was really close to his father, Joseph.
Wow. I didn't know. Now, see, you always learn something. I didn't know that, Tony. I didn't know that.
And he was really good friends with my godfather since I was 9 years old, which is Marshall Thompson, right?
Right.
So that's how I was always everywhere with them guys, right? So Marshall used to play drums for Gladys Knight.
Yeah.
So that's how I was just in that niche of circle. I was always around adults. I never hung around nobody my age.
Okay.
I was always in the taverns, hey, sing this, sing that, do this, do that, So always, that's like my whole life was doing that, and growing up with my sisters and them tap dancing and modern dancing and all that kind of stuff. So, like you had mentioned earlier,
that is awesome. I as I said, it's interesting, and I tell this group, we talk about it all the time. You never know who knows who and what have you, but especially in this business. Now, why don't you share with everybody who your godmother is?
Yeah, well, I was just going to share with him. And that's the same way when I met Martha. I jumped on the stage with her, and then I became her dancing in the street dancer. Oh, we've been together ever since. Yeah.
Just before you guys came on, I'd asked him how Martha was doing. I told him that we were going to go to Detroit, and what happened and what have you. So I've known this for some time, but I did not know the situation with the Jacksons, because I got with them when they came here to Philadelphia doing the Victory Tour. That was part of the security. I was part of the security then, at that point, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun knowing Michael. It was a lot of fun knowing him and being around him. Not in the position that he got to be big, but I'm just saying it was a lot of fun knowing him.
Yeah,
Tony, if I could, why don't you tell us, everybody who's listening, tell us how you got to be dubbed the Young James Brown. Tell us how that came about, please.
Okay. After I finished doing everything with Michael, I went on Oprah Winfrey Show with the best Michael, singer, dancer, all that stuff, right, in the 80s. So then James Brown, like close to 89, 90, Butch Lewis said he was going to put on a event for James Brown in 1991. So James Brown was released. So June 10th, 1991, I came to see Brown, of course, and, he just said, oh, you're Martha's godson or whatever. So then he said, I don't want you in no contest. He said, I want you to perform for us after the party, June 10th party. So from there, Butch Lewis and everybody was there. Muhammad Ali, Malcolm Jamal Warner, MC Hammer, all of them was there. So I performed there, and then James Brown just kept me on tour with him. He got me to be in Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame, which was a 60 cast member play out of London. Frankie, Marvin Gaye's brother, Frankie, was in it.
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye. And we did two United States tours in Detroit and in Chicago. It was called Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame. Our after party was at Floods. He knows.
Okay.
You remember Dino at
Yeah.
Floods?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Detroit. So yeah, we were there for about, I think, 2 months. We was at the Music Hall Theater. Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame, and the other play that came through there was Your Arms Is Too Short to Box with God.
Yes. Yes.
During that time. So we were there in Detroit in 91 and 94. We did all the schools. All the schools came Monday through Friday. And then we had a matinee on Saturday and Sunday, and as well, we just took care of the schools Monday through Friday.
Okay.
They were loaded, the Music Hall. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted you to share with the list. Diane Candy and some of her folks are with us. Wanted to share with how you became, or how it officially became, that you are called the Young James Brown.
Well, officially.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, officially is when I started doing all the stuff for James Brown. Then he got this offer for a movie to do Funk Blast, and so he called me up and said he wanted me to play him in this thing called Funk Blast, EMP Museum. It's not changed the name now. It was Experience Music Project. So now it's a different name, Battle Space Needle in Seattle. So anyway, we filmed this thing at Digital Domain. The Digital Domain did the Titanic. They did The Grinch That Stole Christmas. They did all the Fifth Elements. They did all that. They're the biggest digital. They did Michael Jackson's Ghost.
Okay.
And so they did the technology they did on me and James Brown has never been done before. It was done on Michael Jackson Golf, but the cameras, they looking at a ping pong ball and they put those on the dancers' legs so they can pinpoint where they are and turn them.
Okay. Yeah.
So with me, they had the little dots, and those little dots were reference points, which was a more highly. So the only persons that they ever done that on was myself and Michael Jackson and James Brown. So that was called Funk Blast. And then you can see that on my page, or just go to Funk Blast and Young James Brown or whatever. And then James Brown hired me for that. And so the producer said, "Hey, what do we call him?" And he looked me up and down and said, "Young James Brown." Because my handle before that was the Godson of Soul.
Okay.
Yeah, because you'll hear Oprah Winfrey say that when she introduced. I'm not Oprah. You'll hear what's her name? Jesus. Whoopi Goldberg. When I was on Apollo, she said the Godson of Soul, because that's what he called me. And then she said James Brown called him the Young JB. He's feeling good.
Okay.
So after we did that film, James Brown called me for another one. They were doing BMW Beat the Devil. So the Beat the Devil film was James Brown made a pact with the devil to be the greatest entertainer in the world. And then he comes back 30 years later to renegotiate the contract because they didn't discuss the aging process.
Oh, wow.
So since BMW is involved, BMW was promoting the Z4, the two-seater, and the devil had his car that looked like a Trans Am, back in the day. And so they had his driver, James Brown's driver was Clive Owen, a really good actor, and he played an Inside Man and other stuff. And so the devil's driver was Danny Drago. And he was in Ratchet or something like that. Right?
I remember Danny Drago. Yeah.
So the deal was they're going to drag the Strip of Dawn, James Brown's car versus the devil's car. So they race down the Strip of Dawn, and if James Brown wins, he gets to turn young again. Okay. And so I ain't going to tell you the rest. Just watch it. BMW film. Beat the Devil. Yeah, it's a surprise ending, and it's only a 10-minute thing, so it's really nice. And there's other films that Tony Scott and Ridley Scott did. But the devil is played by Gary Oldman, and he's the top UK actor. Gary Oldman.
Yeah. I remember Oldman. He played he was a Dracula or something on one of them things, and he was also versus Harrison Ford as the president on one of the planes. who was
Yes.
trying to take over his plane. Yeah, I remember
Yeah, I
that.
remember
Yeah,
that. I love that. Was a good. What was the name of
it
that?
was. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was a good movie.
The
Gotta
tape,
type it in. So yeah, so that's how I became Young James Brown, because Mr. Brown renamed me from the Godson of Soul, and he told the producer to call him Young James Brown.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was
All
really
right.
special. And then
Okay.
he gave me a James Brown dial. He called me in his trailer. He said, "I got something for you." So he gave me this dial, and he wrote to Tony Wilson, #2, "Keep on being me."
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I don't want to take up time because you and I can talk. We've been talking for forever. So Lamar, come on in with something if you got something.
How many states can you say that you've been to performing?
How many
Ooh,
states?
Good question. Good question.
Yes.
What do we got? 54 states.
50. 50.
We got
I've been to
50
more than
states.
I've been to more than I say I've been to 60%
Okay.
of the
Okay.
states,
Okay.
including Hawaii. I haven't been to, which is, they say it's a U.S. state. But I've been to a lot of countries. I've been to Amsterdam. I taught master classes in China. Been to Japan. We did the Fuji Rock Festival, 80,000 people on the ski slope.
Okay.
I've been to Sweden, Ireland. Oh wow, so many places. All the West Indies, St. Lucia, Barbados. Yeah, all the West Indies.
Good question, Mar. Good question. Come on, DD.
Okay.
Now, you say you've been to all the states. What was your favorite place, either in the United States or overseas, to play at?
Good question.
Well, monetarily, it's gonna always be overseas. They already
Okay.
have your money for you when you get there.
Good answer. Good answer.
In
Good
Detroit, you
answer.
got to look for the promoter.
Yeah.
Every time the promoter get up, you get up.
Right. Right.
No, but I'll be honest with you. My favorite, and I'm not saying it just because he's there, it would be Detroit. Because Detroit and Chicago is going to love you or they're going to hate you. And when they come and they know, because I work with the Isley brothers too. So
Okay.
we did Detroit on the river. So when Detroiters see you, it's like the Apollo. If they appreciate you and love you, you already know. You don't have to worry about what anybody else say. They always say it's New Yorkers. It ain't New Yorkers, because New Yorkers are mixes of people. But Detroit has that legacy of Motown, of grooming and teaching you the etiquette that they taught you how to talk on television, how to do interviews, how to dress, how to speak. All of that was that whole mechanic. So when you go in front of Detroit, they already know what to look for. And they know class when they see it. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question, DD. Good question.
Yeah.
Tony, as from time to time, I'm going to drop some listeners in as they hit me up on the phone and let me know that Miss Barbara Fagan's a good friend of mine is watching also. Good evening to you. How much pressure, or is there any pressure, in continuing to uphold the legacy of the Godfather of Soul?
Well, it's no pressure at all, because I don't make time for it. I'm just that guy that, like James Brown said, hit it and quit it. There ain't no pressure, because it's not even a fear. Everybody talk about James Brown mean. No, he's militant. If you come there and you got your shoes shine and your pants crease and you're ready to go, and that's it. And there's no pressure. Like here, this show, I ain't never worked this band. I don't have to work with them, but they're musicians. They know how to play. I gave them the music, and they're gonna be on it, as you'll see. You know what I'm saying? So they know that most of James Brown's stuff is in the key of D. So they ain't got to be worried about this. I got to go to D and E and then F sharp and then 6 and get up off of that thing is in the key of G.
Okay.
So they know that, and when they just go ahead and groove and put that groove together, it's there.
Okay.
And then I put the horns. I get the horns relaxed. I give them their horn. I don't know how to read music, but I can tell them that ain't it.
Right.
Where it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're a
Right.
musician and you know how to play, like James Brown said, I could take any band and make them a James Brown band if they know how to play.
Okay. Okay.
And
James Brown
I
didn't.
never have pressure.
Yeah, James didn't read music either, but he could tell you whether you was off or not.
Right. The only pressure that you can ever encounter is not getting paid in advance.
Okay.
And that's it. Because I like to pay my musicians. They got their money on the stage already, and that way they're not following me around like how the baby ducks follow the mother duck.
Yeah.
You know how that's how
Yeah,
That's how musicians. Right after that last show, they follow you around.
yeah.
You know. So
But
James
that,
Brown, you know how Aretha Franklin was, because hey, she gonna be on that bus, but she gonna have her money, all her money.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
right there in that purse, right next to
yeah.
her piano.
And that's the old fashioned right way to do things. You know
Well,
what I'm
you know,
saying?
the way I tell them, I said, okay, here's the choices. I said, you got a fine dining restaurant, or you got the fast food. I'm more like the fast food guy. When you go into a dining restaurant, you can sit in there, have your little steak and lobster, eat, talk a little bit, get your dessert, get another drink, and you can get your check. Well, when you go to McDonald's, as soon as you order the Big Mac, you got to pay for it right there.
Yeah.
That's how I do. I said, if y'all go to the fast food restaurant, drive through or go in, and y'all can just let them wait. Ain't
That's
gonna happen.
awesome. That is awesome. That's really awesome. It is. This is really good to have you here, man. Tell us about your when you leave Vineland, because I'm looking forward to that show tomorrow. I really am. And what's the gentleman that I think you said his name was
His
Ray?
name is Ray.
Ray. I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. I'm going to meet you. I'm going to be there with Lou Costello, and we're going to get together, sit and put some things together. So, Ray, I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. But Tony, what is your tell us what your biggest pleasure is getting on stage doing leaving the legacy for James Brown. What is your biggest pleasure?
The band, the
Okay.
musicians. Yeah, you
Okay.
can. If you having fun with your musicians on the stage, you have a fantastic show. You got a good relationship. You know, because we already know we're gonna wow the crowd because we having
Okay.
fun. If we having fun, you know how James Brown be talking to the
Yeah.
musicians in his band.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said, "What's that funky good time? Gonna
Yeah.
have a funky good time." And he tell
Right.
Fred, he said, "Don't moan so much, brother. Don't moan so much."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he said, "We got to get that little boy here and change horns on me." You know,
Right.
he was
Right.
talking. And so
Right.
when people see that, it's like you had a family reunion with, you know, just a whole groove. You know, and we
Right.
already know when the bass player mess up. Ding, 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 ding,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we give them that
Yeah.
look like, that's
Yeah.
$5 coming out.
All right. All right. All right. Lamar, come on in, bro. You got something?
Um, when you go across the water, how many languages can you speak fluently and sing?
I speak probably about 50 languages. I know all of the cursing words only. I can tell you the cursing words in every language. That's all I want to know. I want to know if they're talking about me. Right? You know? You go in the elevator and go, you got yeah, well, I want to know. Most of y'all be like this, yeah, thank you. No, that's not what it is. Especially Spanish people. You
That's
know,
funny.
they'll
That's
hit,
funny.
yeah.
That's funny. Good question, Mark. Come on
But
in,
let me tell
DD.
you this, they do got this device. I got it with me. It's like just like the earbuds, but only
Yeah.
it's a translator. And if you know you're going around Spanish people, you just turn it in. Anything they say Spanish to come right in your ear. And it only
Okay.
costs about $20-something to get you one. And it don't matter. If you know you're going around some Italians and you want to put it in, wherever you go in lingo, that's that translator thing. It's called AI translators.
Okay.
Very
Okay.
cheap, good to have.
Okay.
And
I
that way
better
you can
get
learn all the cursing words.
I better get one for the regular folks out here. You know
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
got to get them up for Detroit, period.
saying?
I don't think
Good
they got a
question.
one that says street, you know.
Okay. Good question, Mark. Come on in, DD.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, I read that you still use some of James Brown's band. Is that true?
Wow, that
Yes,
was my
yes.
next question. Good question, babe. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. But check it out. This time, like I said, James Brown said he can put a band, he can make any band. Well, here I got John Legend's horn section for this one coming up here. You know, I got Shannon, that he is the guy that books all the stuff at Kelsey's here restaurant, which you've been to, Ali.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's one of the baddest keyboard players. He just played for Kiki Riot. You know, they did a lot of things. So yeah, I just put some great musicians together that've been with them. But for myself, like I have a show in Lighthouse Point on June 21st. I'm using the bass player that's been with James Brown for 23 years, Jimmy Moore.
Okay.
So those are your 1984 group. The 1984 up to his death, those are the band members that I have. Because if
No.
you ever see James Brown where was it? Chastain Park. They had the powder blue. That's the band that I have. And
Okay.
then we went on tour with Bootsy Collins. That's when I went in 2008. We went on tour with Bootsy, Jabbo, and all the original guys, Johnny Griggs,
Fred.
So, Fred Wesley, of course, all of them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. So I always have. I mean, if they want to, when we get ready to go overseas, and they're ready to pay that kind of money, then we ready to roll.
Okay.
But Ron Asley's birthday was yesterday, if y'all don't remember.
I do remember that. Yeah. I'm going to call you to get some because I talked to what's name is Kitty, I think, or
Candy.
Candy. That's it, Candy. And she's trying to step out there as a performer also. Am I correct?
Yeah, of course she is. She's a fantastic singer, man. And she and her sister, they got some stuff together.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She had a nice group going.
That's another conversation that we'll have. That's another one we'll have.
Come
on in, Lamar. What you got?
Awesome.
Okay. How important is it for you to stay in contact with the band leaders from yesterday and today?
It's just a phone call for me. If I want to call Bootsy, I'm gonna call him. Same with Fred. I was with Fred about 4 or 5 months ago. We did a show at the winery in Boston. Everybody that I know is just a phone call away. I call them and check on them and see how they're doing. And that's all it is. We old school. We get to touch with you. If Smokey Robinson was playing, I just come backstage during sound check and I just walk right in.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's good not to burn your bridges.
Yeah, it is good not to burn them, but even if you burn your bridges, they can be repaired. It depends on who's fixing the bridge.
That's a good outlook. That's a good outlook.
Depending on who's fixing the bridge.
That's a very good outlook. But it's a very, if I could just piggyback on that, it's a very, very nice thing. And I tell, like Didi and Lamar and the rest of the group, I just pick up the phone and call this person, just say, hey, how you doing, and what have you. To me, that's from back in the day. That's what you're supposed to do, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You just asked about Marshall, and I told you I talked to him about a month ago or so ago and told him that we'd like to get him back on. We had him on the show about 3-4 years ago, but I like to update it because he got the star now, and he's got a new group now, and so we want to update and see what's going on. Same with the Whispers, but that's the type of thing that I like to do. Want to keep in touch with these folks and keep on what's going on and what have you. Which you coming tomorrow? You're excited about tomorrow. I know that. And I was going to ask you, which I think Didi had already asked you about the group. It was said to me, I think you told me or somebody told me, maybe Martha told me, that you are traveling with the JBs. But that happens when you're like going overseas. Am I correct on that or what?
That I'm traveling with the JBs?
Yeah, or the JBs are traveling with you, whichever. With the JBs are with you.
Well, they got so many JBs. They got the JBs that Fred Wesley owns, and then you got the new JBs, and then you have Martha High and the new JBs, and then so they just keep JBing all over the place, right? So look, mine is when James Brown, when I was this is what he told me. My band, when James Brown called me, was Tony Wilson and the James Brown tribute band.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, son, you're going to have problems when I'm gone. So he said, think of another name. So I came up with the name Tony Wilson and the Godfather of Soul Band.
Okay.
And I own the trademark to the Godfather of Soul in the UK.
Okay.
So under the trademark thing, do not trademark here, period. Even your name, Ali Hatchett, don't trademark here because you have to have an attorney and pay money. You trademark over in the UK. And you just have to have an address of someone in the UK that they're just a representative. Then you can be covered in any country if you go through the Madrid protocol.
Okay.
Because, trademarks are territorial.
Right.
So I can have an Ali Hatchet show as long as I'm not on your mark. Your mark is radio and that. I can have an Ali Hatchet ice cream store, furniture store. So it's about the mark. So they don't tell a lot of people that kind of stuff because the EU and the UK separated.
Right.
About a year ago, year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So doing that and owning your trademarks to your thing is, you're making most of the money because they'll take the Ali Hatchett show over there and you won't even know nothing about it.
Exactly.
Over there in Albuquerque or Thailand or somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll steal the idea and the concept. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of stuff that we aren't privy to until it's either too late or after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but
Especially in this entertainment business, a lot of it.
yeah,
A
a lot
lot
of
of
them just don't know about it, but you're on it now. Now you know.
Right, right. I'd like to say good evening to Robin. Robin has joined us here, and like I said, Diane is here, and Barbara Finch is here, and a couple other folks that. Good evening to all of you. We're talking to the man I call, and I don't use this word a lot. I mean, I use it a lot, but I use it respectfully. Tony is still with us. Tony Wilson, who is called the Young James Brown. I call him legendary. Legendary because of what he does, and he's carrying on a name that is legendary in this business, in this whole world, and in entertainment. And I'm talking about the one James Brown. Again, we explained earlier how he became the young James Brown. He was dubbed by James Brown prior to his demise, that this was the name that he had. And that's got to be an awesome feeling for somebody who is a legend like that to look at you and call you that. Tell us how that feels, Tony, if you would.
Well, it felt really good because I've always just used my handle as the godson of soul. Just go right up under that. But when he said that was like really personal. Because to say that you're young, and it really happened to me again. It's the second time it did that. If you look at if you type in Tony Wilson and the Isley Brothers. That's when Ron Isley said, "Well, it's about time for me to get up and do my James Brown thing," and people were laughing and carrying on.
Right.
He said, "Oh, y'all didn't know?" And he said, "That's why I was standing over in the corner, because I knew sooner or later I'm gonna be doing some flips and all that kind of stuff." He said, "Y'all don't believe me." He said, "Well, this time I just let my little son come out here and do something." You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when you get that kind of thing from a man that's a multi-platinum legend, and he just says in front of all these people that I'm gonna let my little son come out, then they really hold you high respect. You're not no impersonator status.
Exactly.
And that's the issue that I had with a lot of promoters and stuff. They said, "Well, it's a tribute." I said, "No, it's not." I said, "If that's the case, are you saying Dennis Edwards was a impersonator to David Ruffin?"
Right.
Then you're saying Ollie Woodson was impersonator to Dennis Edwards?
Right.
I said, they're the guys that took over the band, same thing,
Okay.
Because most of the bands that got out here, they're not the real people anyway.
That's true. That's very true.
They're not.
That's very true. That's very true. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Very interesting way. But you're absolutely right. And as we talked earlier, that's what makes what I do here what we do here on Friday a little difficult, because it's hard to get in touch with. You want to talk to the real people, but if you can't, you want to talk to somebody that's close enough to be, or somebody that knows, not just somebody here that's going to get on and just rap and talk about anything. That's not what we're looking for. So it is difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah.
It is difficult. I don't know, Tony. I don't know if I ever shared with you. I probably did. I'm sure that I probably did, because of the fact of, who you are and what have you. But I'm going to just tell you and everybody. I know Lamar's heard it before and Dee Dee's heard it before. My story with James Brown. I was working at WTNJ radio station in Trenton, and I knew that James Brown was coming to town that weekend to perform at the War Memorial Building, and of course we were promoting it and what have you. My favorite song at that time was called "It's a New Day," which I still love that song now. It didn't get a lot of play, and I don't know why, because it's a great song. It's a great song. Anyway, back at that time, you could back the record up 6, 7, 8 times as much as you wanted to. You know what I mean? Nobody would say anything. So this one particular Saturday afternoon I was on, I must have backed that record up about 6 times. I was in a zone, man. And I was feeling good, just screaming and hollering. So there was a young brother learning how to do some doing the news. And I had to run across the street. We were on the Trenton Commons at the time. And I said, let me run across the street to Kentucky Fried and get me a sandwich, because I was hungry. The record's long enough that you can go get a sandwich and eat it and then come back. You know what I mean? So he did that. I told him to sit here. Unbeknownst to me, James Brown was on the Trenton Commons, and he heard me playing the record and going crazy. So he came up to the station. Now, I wasn't there. I was, getting my sandwich. So when I come back, I heard the music stop. And I said, oh, my gosh, what's wrong? So I ran into the studio. The guy's name was Don Juan Banks. That's who he was, Don Juan Banks. Yeah. And I looked at him. I said, what's going on? And he's standing there looking like this, because James Brown is standing in front of him. You know what I mean? But no air. There's dead air over there on the air. You know,
Right.
so I ran over and I put the record back on, and I said, "Man, what are you doing?" And he said, "There are all these James Brown." I said, "Yeah, I got that, but what are you doing? There's no music here." You know. Anyway, James Brown and I got to talking, and Tony, he offered me a job when he had those radio stations in Atlanta.
Oh,
He
good.
said, "I want you to come down and be a jock on my show." He said, "Because I like what you're doing." I told him, I said, "I would," and we talked about, I would have loved to, but I was in the service then, so I couldn't go.
Right.
He went in his pocket, the honest to goodness truth. He went in his pocket and pulled out 10 $100 bills and put them on the console. He said, "This is for you." I said, "For what?" He said, "For playing my music and making me feel so good." Man, I mean, that was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, you know, in the radio business and what have you. And of course, I went to the show, and the show was fantastic. We got that laughing and dancing and carrying on and what have you. But that's my story with the Godfather. I met him a little bit later on, you know, sort of like when he was going downhill, if you will. But he was always very respectful to me, very nice to me. Share with us one of your James Brown stories, if you would, please.
Well, I can say it. That's a great song. You talking about Brand New Day. A lot of people, if they listen to it, you'll love it. Fellas,
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't get the airplay, man. It's a great song.
Yeah,
Fellas, things have got too far gone now.
that's
We
right.
let the
They
girls know
can't do
what to
anything
do.
no more. It's really a drag. You got to do something. Fellas, let me tell you what you got to do. TCB so mellow, nobody can get through.
Yes,
And when
sir.
they ask you, do you love them, smile and kiss your cheek. Walk away and
Walk away and
twist
twist
your
your
hip.
hip.
Make sure you keep on weak.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody take care of your business better than you do.
Say what?
You give a girl get you what she want and respect to come to you, and then you can hold the man. I
Come
said
on
you
now.
can hold the man. You
Come
can
on.
hold the man. You can hold. Ow! Never get too confident with something that you just don't know. Before
on.
telling the girl to lose yourself, and then you have to go.
Come
And
on.
ladies, when you love your man, be sure that you tell him that. And he'll keep you in the corner and treat you like a Sunday hat.
hat.
Hold the man. Hey, you know, I have a lot of things to do, but I also dedicate this whole concert to the innocent convicts. You know, it's a guy, my friend, my dear friend, brother, Darrell Jones, right? And he was spent 38 years in prison for something he didn't do. And he got out, he got exonerated, along with a lot of other people. We're trying to get Fuquan out of jail. And these are all these young boys from Boston and other areas that have never, ever, ever did the crime. And they were exonerated.
Wow.
And they found the person that did it and they exonerated. So, you know, 33 years, that's a long time.
Yes, it is, my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes,
But
it is.
your question to me was what before I got into my song?
Listen, I'm ready for part 2 now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I see you listening to the lyrics. Yeah, don't
Oh yeah, I know that song well, man.
Can I get some help?
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I get a witness?
Can I get some help? Yeah.
I need a witness. I want a witness over there. Can I get a witness? I'm on a witness right there. I get a witness. I said I need a witness.
Lamar, look at DD's face. Look at DD's face.
Yes.
Yeah, he's cutting up on that song.
Yeah,
Yes, he was.
And see, that's the thing about James Brown. That's when I told you earlier about, you asked me what's the best thing I enjoy as a musician. Fellas, yeah, can I get some help?
Yeah.
Can I get a witness? Yeah, I need a witness.
Yeah.
Over there. You know what I'm saying? It's call and response.
Now, Tony, imagine that you listen to the radio and a disc jockey is screaming and hollering, playing that 6 times in a row. I was going crazy. I love that song, man. I love that song. And the people downstairs on the Trenton Commons, they was all out there dancing like it was a house party, whatever.
That's
you know
the
what
song.
I mean?
You know what? Most James Brown fans never heard that song.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why. It's a great song, man.
Yes,
I don't understand why. And every time I play it, I almost say the same thing. I don't know why it didn't get the airplay that it should have gotten. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a great song. It really, really is a good song.
One of my friends are trying to get in. They say they can't get in. I sent them the link. It says
no, they can't come in on this call because of the fact that we're on this call. They can listen and watch. They can listen and watch.
How do they get in?
Well, I'll let them in, but they just have to. They can't. You know, this conversation is with us. You know what I'm saying? They can just watch us and what have you.
That's what I'm saying. How do they watch?
Yeah, Well, I don't see anybody here, so I can't let them. If they come in, I'll try to let them in, but I don't see anybody here. Tell
Right.
me
I
to go
mean,
out
but
and try
how
it
do
again.
what
And he
is there?
tell him how he can get in on YouTube.
Right. How
Yeah,
to get?
go to Jay. Tell them to go to YouTube
Okay.
and YouTube and type in Ali Hackett. They should be able to
YouTube.
come right in.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm doing right there. YouTube, Ali Hackett.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, because on this link it's just us. On this link it's
Okay.
just us.
Got it.
So, Tony, what I was asking is share with us one of your great James Brown memories, if you will.
Oh my God, my greatest
I know
memory.
you got hundreds of them. I know you got hundreds.
Well, I would say the number one would be we had an opportunity to sit and talk after we were doing after they raced down the strip of dawn before that scene happened, and we were just sitting right outside. And I didn't want to sit there. He said, "No, you can sit here." So I sat right next to him, and I just said, "I'm going to keep your legacy alive." He said, "I know you will, son. I know you're going to do it." And he said, "I know you're going to have a hard time with my name and all that kind of stuff." He said, "But you're doing the right thing." He said, "Just keep on doing it and never stop." Because he said, "I'm never going to stop." And that was it. We just had that one-on-one that, just keep on going, keep on grooming, and keep it funky.
That's got to be awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
really got to be awesome. I feel the same, feel it, because when we sat down and talked at the station, and he offered me that job, and then gave me that money, what have you. That was a tremendous experience. It really, really was, really was. Lamar, what you got, babe?
I'm thinking outside of singing and performing, are you an advocate for the veterans, and what do you do for them?
Good question.
I actually do a lot for him. Actually, in 1994, in Miami, that's when the Orange Bowl was up. We did the stand down, and they don't do that anymore in the military. They should, but we had the Orange Bowl. We had 8,000 homeless vets. We had all of them had sleeping bags, tents. Um, this was right on the field, and also they had haircuts. We gave them all of the necessary grooming stuff and whatever. Got the ones that we could get jobs, that could work. So that after you did that stand down, they never wanted to do another one. And
Wow.
I've been trying to advocate for that for so long through the military, to go ahead and do multiple stand downs. They should do one for that because, like I said, my father was Air Force. Two sisters was sergeant majors and first sergeants, and so with that, and I'm always at all the ceremonies doing stuff for them and performing, for the military ball. Did you know Barry Gordy was a chaplain assistant as well?
Yeah.
Had an army as well. So the fight continues with trying to get a grant where they can go ahead and fix up these abandoned buildings and get them in there instead of the immigrants that they're going and letting them do whatever they want, which doesn't matter. But I think we should take care of home and take care of the people that are here, these homeless vets, these grandfathers that've been out there and working and doing everything. Some of them got amputee legs and limbs, and they're not done for them. They got a cup and they're hanging out there. It's just it lets the young soldiers what their fate is going to be, or at least make them say, hey, this can happen to you.
Okay.
They don't want to.
Good question.
They're more invincible. But the whole main thing is just trying to find a big link to how can we do this? How can we accomplish this? How can we convince the army, the military, to do stand downs so that they can take care of their vets? And that's at all the BFWs. I started entertainment at Post 8194 out there in Florida. It's 8195 in Florida and Pembroke. And we put on entertainment thing now. They go and feed them and have the community, right? So they don't take care of them. They pay rent, pay their room and board, those kind of things. But trying to get money from civilians is one thing, but it's grants other than the VA, whatever they do or don't do, it should be outside that's just for homeless vets.
Well, we talked about this earlier, and I think that we all agree it's all political. It's all political. And Yeah, and it's unfortunate because every time you want to put something on TV, support our vets, support our vets, support, and it's almost like Muhammad Ali said, you want me to go over there and fight for this country, but you won't fight for me right here. You know what I'm saying? Very, very similar type situation. It's been that way for years. Been that way for years. Good question, Lamar. And I know that I'll say this, Lamar. Maybe you don't know, but the military situation is very dear to Tony's heart. Very dear to him. So yeah, I can tell that. Go ahead, DD.
Now, I lost it that fast. Lost my train of thought that fast. But
you want him to sing again?
Oh yeah, I really lost my train of thought. Okay,
Whatever you want.
Okay. What was I getting ready to say? Oh my goodness.
That's okay.
See, I'm getting old.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
That's all right.
We at the Landis Theater tomorrow, so they know about that in Vineland. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that while DD has figured out what she's saying. Go ahead. I'll let you say it since you're performing.
Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we're going to be at the Landis Theater in Vineland, New Jersey. It's going to be a really nice place. We got a nice band with Legends horns. You know, we got Shannon, is one of the greatest keyboard players out here, and we're going to have a good time. We got Vic. He's going to be doing Bobby Bird, and he plays at the Landis Theater upstairs a lot as well. And we're just going to have a really good time, and we're just hoping that everybody come out, pass the word around, Vineland, and the Landis Theater, 8 o'clock.
Cool. Let me give you guys the address. The address, the Landis Theater. It's 830 East Landis Avenue in Vineland, New Jersey. Showtime is at 8 o'clock, and I'm gonna, God willing, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna meet with Tony. We're gonna meet about 6 o'clock or so and hang out for a little bit along with Ray. But again, the address is 830 East Landis Avenue in Vineland, New Jersey. It's about an hour and 10 minutes away. But I can almost guarantee you it's going to be a great show with this guy on stage. Tony, you're performing. I mean, there's nobody else but you on there. Am I correct?
Right, just me. And hopefully I can get you to do some cartwheels.
Somebody better have a camera ready and a stretcher ready.
Yeah,
well, I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. And listen, is a new day in your program?
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh my goodness gracious! Well, we might be able to do something together on that. Then you know what I mean? Might be able to do something together. What is your favorite James Brown song to perform?
Oh, well, it depends on what category we're in, but it all depends who I'm playing in front of. But my favorite, of course, is Sex Machine. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
So we go into Sex Machine, going to Talking Loud, Saying Nothing, and Soul Pop. So it's like the whole thing, you know. And if you ever listen to the words and Say It Loud, I mean, Talking Loud, Saying Nothing.
Yeah, Talking Loud ain't saying nothing. Yeah.
He said, "Tell me how to do my thing when you can't do your own. And
right.
Tell me how to feed my boy. I said, when you know I'm grown. When you see I don't wear no dress."
He was something else, man. He was something else. He could just take words and just create his own thing, man. I'm telling you. He was something. Now, Tony, let me ask you, do you do any of the classic slow stuff? It's a Man's World, Bewildered, Try Me.
World, Try Me. And I think they got it locked in because I told them I want to do If I Rule the World.
Okay. Okay.
But definitely Man's World, Please, Please, Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you do. Please, please, please. That's why you got 17 capes. I know you. I know that's why you do that.
Do you fall on your knees?
Oh yeah, of course.
All right. All right.
That's part of the program, Lamar. That's part of the program.
I think.
I love that.
I think Darrell Jones is listening in on YouTube, so we just give him a shout out. Innocent.
Who is it? Who is it?
Innocent Convicts, 32 years.
Okay, Darrell Jones, my brother, we're glad to have you here. We'll support you any kind of way that we can. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay. So what's next? I don't know what you had to have a list of things that you wanted to accomplish, Tony, and you have, in my opinion, and from what I know of you, you've accomplished most of them. What is left for you to accomplish now?
Get something at McDonald's free. No charge, sir. Go ahead. No. The only thing I want to accomplish is to be a great, great, great grandfather.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But
Well,
I am a great grandfather now.
okay.
So it'll
You want
go.
to be a greater one. I got you. Okay.
Great, great, great grandmother, great, great, great grandfather.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
I'm happy with everything I've done. I mean, you can't make it what it is, but I can't say I have regrets, because if I say I had one little regret, I'd have met you or anybody on this panel.
Oh, wow. Thank you, bro. That's nice of you. Thank you very much. Well,
One-
I got
hopefully,
a question.
go ahead, DD.
Now, I read that you performed when his last performance in Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how was that?
Yeah.
Knowing
Well,
that this was his last one.
yeah, he called me up and said there was something going on with the promoters there, and then they had an agreement that they were going to pay. James Brown said he would do it free, but he didn't say that he was going to do it band free. So the promoter and them, they had that little thing. So he called me and asked me would I bring my band up there, and so I brought my band up there and we backed him up. He told me the song that he was going to do, and he did that. He called me up. We got it. He actually brought his drum set from one of his storages, and he let me have it. That's the one that I have.
Okay.
And so it was really nice. I mean, for him to show up, because people thought it was called the Soul of America concert, and 7 months later he died. Prior to him coming, he had already performed for Prince Charles.
Yeah.
Mm.
And he came here, and then he had another concert afterwards. My band was his last Augusta, Georgia concert. It was
Wow.
actually May 27th, 2006.
Wow. What a great memory, man. What a great memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great memory. Good question, D. Good question. What a great memory. Man, that is awesome.
And
That's what I said. Go ahead.
what else about that is that there was an old guy there, right? And he came up to me after the concert, after Mr. Brown left. My band played James Brown music. And then he came up and said, he asked me if I was going to be here the next day. And I said, no, tomorrow is Sunday gospel. And he said, but are you going to be here? I said, I'll be here. He said, well, Augusta was never, ever James Brown at all. And he said, but I want to give you. I said, okay. So he came in. He came with this bag, looked like it was a shoebox, looked like from Noah's. And he said, James Brown, and I'm telling you, he said James Brown never owned a shoebox. He always got mine. The shoebox is the one that James Brown shines shoes in front of the radio station.
Right. Yeah.
Then I said, well, all the papers are saying that the police used to chase James Brown off of Broad Street. And James Brown would run and jump in the water and have a straw up on him. And he said, yeah, but he said the thing is that he asked me, did I remember those shoe shine chairs that were stuck to the ground?
Yeah.
In the day, he said what happened. He said that's two scenarios. What happened was that is the shoe shine man shows up at 9 o'clock to do the soldier's shoes, right? James Brown would come and get his shoebox, and he'd be out there at 7 o'clock in the morning and done.
Beating everybody. Okay.
Shoes. And then when the shoe shine man come up, he run James Brown off.
Okay.
But that
Okay.
was tried to cross reference it and say, oh well, but I definitely had his shoebox, the one that he. Yeah.
Wow. What a nice memorabilia to have, man.
Had lots of memorabilia.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, so I got Hard Rock wants to get some for me here in Atlantic City, and then because they only have James Brown over by the men's bathroom, they only got is a old shoebox, not shoebox. They got an old shoe stand.
Okay.
So crap in there, and then they got Elvis's Phantom Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Had
Yeah.
nothing to James Brown in it. So when I talked to the guy, I really got mad at him. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
James Brown was the only man allowed to see Elvis' body. They were really
Right.
you can read it because he was the only one allowed to be alone with Elvis' body.
Yeah. Well, that's it doesn't make it easy and it doesn't make it right, but that's this business, and we've been dealing with this for years and years and years and years. You know,
I know.
that's a shame. But just listen to you, man. You got some great memorabilia stuff that is really really awesome. That's it. Congratulations. We're sort of getting ready to end up here, so we'll go around the room and let everybody say their goodbyes and their final questions or comments. Lamar, go ahead.
It was a pleasure to meet you and just have this time with you. You are a joker, and you keep the spirits going. Now, my last question to you is, what advice would you give those that's trying to do what you're doing today?
Wow.
That's real easy. Stop listening to people.
Oh.
Good advice.
Don't take, if you have a passion and you want to do something, find out the best way to do it and do it. And that's it. But I mean, stop listening to people telling you you can't do it or it's not good for you or good move, because you'll regret it.
Yeah.
There's so many moves you can do within your life.
Yeah.
But you keep people, then
That's good advice, Tony. That's good question, Mar.
And
good
that's
question.
backstage. Stop listening to people.
Yeah, thank you. And just God bless you, man. Keep on being you.
Thank you, man.
Well, I can tell you he is. And after I come from the show tomorrow, I'll call you tomorrow and tell you what he did. Yeah. Go ahead, DD.
It was a pleasure meeting you, talking to you, and I hope that I get to see you in person soon, because you look like you a lot of fun. Okay. Yes. But it was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for coming on here with us tonight.
Thank you. Are you all, I know you're in Detroit, where are you at?
I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in York, Pennsylvania, like 2 hours outside of Philly.
Okay. I wish you could come to the show at the Landis tomorrow, but there'll be other shows. We'll come by you.
Yeah.
She was living in Florida when I sent all the rest of the gang down to see you a couple of months ago. She was in Florida. She just moved back here to she missed us. She missed the cheesesteaks and pretzels, so she came back home,
I miss real people. That's what it was. I miss real people.
I got you. My brother, it was so good to have you here with us, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow and hanging out and talking with you and all that kind of stuff there. And I, according with me and Music Lovers Ltd, we wish you nothing but continued success and happiness. And I know that's just a wish because you bring it with you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to wait for it or wait for somebody to hand it to you. You bring it with you, and that's always been a very, very positive attribute that you have. Always been, man. So we definitely appreciate it, and I thank you for all of the stories. And we're definitely gonna stay in touch, and we'll certainly have to have you come back on again, especially when you come back into this area.
Absolutely. Well, we can do live Alley Hatchet from the theater.
Absolutely. We'll get somebody in there technical to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the legendary Tony Wilson, who is dubbed and is the young James Brown. If you will keep in mind that tomorrow night at the Landis Theater, 830 East Landis Avenue in Vineland, New Jersey, he will be performing. Show starts at 8 o'clock. Okay, show starts at 8 o'clock. It's only one show. In other words, he's the only entertainer on the show. So you're going to get a full 13 hours of him. You know,
240 shows.
Okay. So we're going to have a great time tomorrow night. So if you can make it, we certainly hope that you do. But stay in touch. That Tony will be with us when we go off at 10 o'clock in a couple of minutes. When we go off, be sure to tune in to WPPM 106.5 FM or phillycam.org/listen for my radio show from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. This coming Wednesday evening on my TV show, Salt, Pepper, and Memory, the late great Bunny Sigler. Be sure and tune in at 7 o'clock if you will. Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend. God bless you. Be safe. Eat and drink as much as you want to, but please be safe. And we hope to see you tomorrow night at the show. Take care. We love you all. And we're all going to say good night. Tony, I'll see you later, my brother.
Right.
Good night, everybody. Let me
Peace
get my music on here. I almost forgot my music.
Can't do that.
Tomorrow, take it easy. Have a good time. And happy Memorial Day.
Thank you, dude. Totally enjoy. Be safe.
Thank you. Let me hear from.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye bye.